Hi, everybody. Welcome to Lunch Break Live. Here is Chef AJ.
Hey, everybody. How are you? And happy day before Thanksgiving. I'm Chef AJ. I've been vegan for over 43 years. And today I'd like to do a few recipes that I'm going to actually be making for my Thanksgiving tomorrow from my new book, Own Your Health. They're really easy and delicious. So some of them are very traditional. Some you'll say, what is she making kale for? You know, when you think about it, there's all the delicious things you're going to have, the pumpkin pie probably, but you got to have some greens at every meal, by any greens necessary. So even though this is not traditional Thanksgiving, the reason I'm making this is because this is a recipe for people that are green adverse love. It's called Mediterranean kale, and what's nice about it is it kind of tastes like pizza. So what I'm using is the 8-quart pressure cooker. Instant Pot is my favorite brand, but any pressure cooker will do. But I like the 8-quart because you can do a big recipe in it, whereas in a smaller pressure cooker, you can't. It's always better to have a bigger one than a smaller one, in my opinion. So if you don't have one, get the bigger one. They have an 8-quart and a 10-quart, and $10 off with code AJ. Got a lot of codes for you guys today. So I love Trader Joe's because they have organics already bagged and washed. Got a torn rotator cuff. Chopping is really hard for me. So basically all you do is you take 2 bags of kale. They're each 10 ounces. This is the Tuscan, but if you prefer the curly kale, that's fine. A bag of their frozen artichokes, which I've defrosted, and a bag of the sun-dried tomatoes. This is, and again, it doesn't have to be Trader Joe's brand. It's just perfectly easy. This is 3 ounces or about 3/4 of a cup. Make sure you get them without the added oil and salt and sulfites. And it does actually taste like pizza. So I just put everything in a bowl in advance just because it would be a little easier to dump it in the insert of my 8-quart pressure cooker, which already has a cup of water in it. And so I'm just going to put my greens and my artichokes in. And remember, you can do a smaller recipe in a big pressure cooker, but you can't do a big recipe in a small pressure cooker. So now what I'm going to add to that is all of my sun-dried tomatoes. Sun-dried tomatoes are wonderful because, believe it or not, it takes 4 pounds of fresh tomatoes to make this many sun-dried tomatoes. So especially if you're avoiding salt, they are so flavorful. And then the other thing I'm going to add is garlic. And my recipe only calls for 4 cloves, but I always feel with garlic, if a little is good, more is better. And I love this tool from Tupperware because, again, I have limited use in my right arm. And what's really cool about it is I'm using my left hand, you just pull this. And whether it's a few carrots, maybe, like I do baby carrots for my dog Bailey, organic carrots in her food, or a few nuts. This is just one of my favorite tools. I use it all the time, and it chops it much finer than I could by hand. And I find those garlic presses, it gets stuck. They're impossible to clean. And if you didn't want to do fresh garlic, they sell garlic in a jar or frozen garlic now. But I never pay attention to garlic. I just put in as much as I like or as much as you like. That's it. You put everything in the pressure cooker. You put the pressure cooker in its base. 11 o'clock is how you seal it. And then I'm going to use the pressure cook number. And believe it or not, I'm going to do 0 minutes. Let's see if there's a start button on this one. I don't think so. This is going to beep. It should beep. Come on, beep. Tell me that you're doing it. There it goes. So I'm just going to put this aside for a minute so you can see the next recipe a lot easier.
And Chef AJ is doing 5 recipes in 30 minutes today.
That's right, because I got another show. So I hope maybe even less. All right. So I think I'm going to blow your mind, guys. So I don't have any plant milk right now. I don't live near a store anymore. And I recently hosted something called the GI Health Summit. And I learned from the doctors that as wonderful it is to not have dairy, there are some ingredients in some plant milks that could be very deleterious to some people's health, especially those of us with sensitive GI tracts like me. And this ingredient is called an emulsifier. And I realized that some of the box milks I was using had these emulsifiers. And that's probably why they tasted so good, because they put lots of chemicals in to make it thick and creamy. So I used to make my own. There's some recipes on my YouTube channel, but they'd always separate and they wouldn't last very long. So I found out about this machine, and this is called the Nutrimilk. And believe it or not, they're having an incredible Black Friday sale. And I interviewed the CEO yesterday on my YouTube channel, and she's allowing me to tell it in advance, which is so nice of her. So starting at a minute after midnight tonight to a minute before midnight Sunday, you can get $100 off. That is incredible. And it also makes nut butters, but it's so cool for making nut milks. And I'm going to show you in 2 minutes, I'm going to make oat milk. I don't do very well with nuts, and so I like to make oat milk. And a lot of times when you make plant milks, they can be very slimy and you have to strain them. This machine, there's no straining. And what's really cool about it is some of the other machines, you're throwing away the most nutritious part. You're throwing away the pulp. That's where all the fiber and nutrients are. You paid for it. You may as well have a whole milk rather than like a flavored water that's lightly flavored with almond or oat. So what I'm going to do is, I'm always working backwards for some reason, but my husband always tells me which way. It has to go this way, right? Okay. So basically, I'm going to put in a cup of oats, and oats are really cheap, by the way, super duper cheap. So I'm putting a cup of oats in the Nutri-Milk, and then I just have to put the top on.
So are these the long cooking oats, or are these?
No, these are just organic rolled oats from Whole Foods. But the company said you can actually use oat oats and you can use steel cut oats. Let's see. There we go. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push this button that says butter, and it only takes a minute. It's actually going to take 2 minutes in total. So this is going to go for 1 minute. And then I'm going to add my water in 1 minute, and it's going to take another minute. That's it. And if I wanted to make it sweetened, for example, like maybe I wanted to put a date in or two, or some cinnamon or vanilla, you can do that when you add the water part. And if you're somebody that likes nut butters, I have videos. This machine does everything for you, and it's also a food processor and a blender. So it's a very powerful food processor. But what's cool, I don't know if you noticed this little black thing that's moving. These are the wiper blades. So I'm going to be using it to make the cranberry relish. And with most food processors, you have to stop and start and take the top off to scrape. Well, you don't have to do this with this one. So it's pretty cool. We've got 10 seconds left on the timer. And then I'm going to add 4 cups of water. If you wanted to use coconut water, you could. I'm just using regular water. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is add my water. Very, very easy. And again, people say, well, I can do this in my Vitamix, but it doesn't get this finely ground. People that do it in those machines, you always have to strain it. Okay, there we go. And now I just put the mix button for 1 minute.
So this has a very powerful motor.
Yeah, I think it's something like 1,800 RPMs. And the thing is I broke my food processor trying to make nut butter because this thing is really, really sturdy. If you go to places like barista places, you might actually see this machine, because this is really where I believe it started out. But I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'm really enjoying it. $100 it's probably the best offer you're going to get. And it includes free shipping in the United States. They will ship to other countries, but not free shipping with this Thanksgiving Day special. I have a $50 code year-round with them, but this is like, if you're going to buy it, this is the time. And the neat thing about it is you can make vegetable broth, raw vegetable broth. You throw in your vegetable scraps. I'm just in love with this machine.
That's incredible. Now, I put a banner along the bottom that is going to go for a while. So people need to copy down the exact terminology of this banner, because it has the code within this specific URL. So I'm also going to post it into the comments so people can see it, and maybe click on it as well. But I want people to see that. And it begins not today, it begins tonight, the 26th.
Tonight, if you just wake up 1 minute after midnight, you can get the special, right. And then for the next 4 days, right? So 4 days.
So it's from tonight, which is tomorrow's going to be Thursday.
Then maybe watch some of the interviews I did with the people. So now all I do is I press this dispense button and start, and look, what comes out is milk, and I don't have to strain it. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. So 3-minute milk. I mean, and the great thing is it's cheaper. Oats are so cheap, and you don't have any packaging, so it's an environmentally friendly thing. So of course there's this initial investment, but I think if you do drink a lot of plant milks, and especially if you eat a lot of nut butters, raw almond butter can be $20 a jar. You can make it for almost nothing when you have a machine like this. So there we have. And by the way, this will last in the refrigerated for at least 6 days. So 3-minute milk, and I don't have to do anything. The machine does everything for me. I've been really having fun experimenting with it, so we just have a couple more minutes. There we go. All right, my beautiful, beautiful milk. So, ta-da. All right. Now, there's very, very little that's left on the bottom. What you're actually seeing here is foam. So it's the same thing with the nut milks. You're not throwing away the most nutritious part.
That's what I'm interested in, because every time I use, there's another product on the market that I've been using to make almond and other milks, and there is really a ton of fiber that's left behind. And I think we were in discussion about milk, about nut water versus nut milk. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's another product I love, which again, I'm doing a show on Sunday with lots of vendors with lots of codes. But for people that don't want to get a machine like this, there's a product I love. I believe it's about $17. It's called Joy, just one ingredient. And it comes in cashew and almond. And you literally take 1 tablespoon to as much water as you want, 1 cup, more or less. And the thing is, this product was made in such a way that it's shelf stable. It doesn't have to be refrigerated like nut butters, and it doesn't separate, because the separation always drove me crazy. I like that I don't have to shake these up, right? Now, I learned from Tony Jimenez, one of the company's founders, because I never understood, like when I bought like Blue Diamond almond milk, it was 25 calories or 30 calories. And when I bought a brand, like if you're going to buy a brand like Three Trees or Elmhurst, where it's literally almond and water, right? 2 ingredients. Why that was, first of all, those were $7.99 as opposed to $1.99, and why it like had so much more fat. And Tony explained to me that when you're buying most of these box milks, it's not nut milk, it's nut water. So when people are using different kinds of machines where there's pulp left over, that's where all the fiber and nutrients are. So you're and if you could taste the difference between a rich milk made in a machine like this and the box, you'd know there's no comparison. So especially if you're doing it for soups or smoothies, you know, I don't want nut water, and I don't want to pay for something that I'm not using. So that's why I like using the whole food. And I've been having a lot of fun with this machine. And then what I do, this is just a jar that I once had some organic lemon juice, and then I just put it in a jar, and it fits perfectly. If I don't get it all over the counter. And I wish I could show you one already made, but I didn't have it. And really, it doesn't separate. But if it did, you would shake it up. But so far, I haven't had the separation occur. So look at that, 4 quarts. Okay. So there is a little tiny bit of thickness, but that's not much compared to what you would get the other way. So I'm just going to measure out a cup of this, because I want to make you my holiday nog, which is one of my favorite recipes. Eggnog, as you know, is not vegan, and it's not healthy, even if it worked with egg yolks and tons of sugar, tons of dairy. So lots of vegan recipes out there, but a lot of them call for things like nuts, which are healthy, but calorically dense. And like I mentioned, I don't do well with them. And so, and lots of dates. So I try to minimize, you know, how much sweetness I'm doing in things. So one of my secret ingredients is the Hannah yam. The Hannah yam is a sweet potato that is this color on the inside. They're kind of beige on the outside. I wish I had one to show you. And so what I do is I take them, I roast them, and then I freeze them in 1 cup, not containers, but amounts, because then I use them for things like bean burgers or beanless bean burgers or desserts or this. So I have 1 cup that I'm putting in. I'm actually making a half a recipe right now because I don't have time to drink it. And then I have my spices, which are nutmeg and vanilla powder. I like vanilla powder much better than the extract. And then a frozen banana, which I'm going to grab from my freezer. Always make sure when you freeze your bananas, you make sure they're very ripe, because then you'll get the most sweetness. And always take the peel off, because you'll be able to peel it once it's frozen. So that's it. I'm going to put it on the blender top. There we go. Going to blend. There'll be a little noise, but not too much and not too long. And I promise you, I have fooled people with this. Now, I don't do alcohol, but if you really, really, really want to fool people, there is something, and it's not a natural product, but you can get rum extract, and you put in like a 1/4 teaspoon or a 1/2 teaspoon. My kale's ready. So let's just switch gears for 1 second, because nobody likes kale when it's brown. There we go. You see how fast that was, guys? It's already ready. And I got my little diverter. I'm going to just release the pressure. Whoops. There we go. It's always good to blow off a little steam, isn't it? Whoa. My diverter fell down. There we go. Okay. Want to show you something. All right. So while my pressure is releasing, what I would normally do is put this in a very festive glass or pitcher. However, what I want to show you is another way to do this. And there is nothing more delicious, in my opinion, than eggnog ice cream, even this time of year. So I have this really cool mold that makes popsicles. Let me just unplug my pressure cooker, because if I don't, my greens will just continue to cook. And what I love to do is make little popsicles out of the eggnog. Because, you know, if you look in the store, I think you can see how thick this is because of the potato and the banana. So it tastes thick and creamy without using cream or egg yolks, which normally would provide the thickness. You know what? I see a piece of banana that didn't blend, but I'll do that. Let me give it a quick little blend, because there's a unblended piece of banana. If you want to show them what's in the pressure cooker right now, I'll plate it up in just a moment, but I do want to blend for a very quick minute here. Get that banana blended.
And we'll remind everybody that the time in the pressure cooker was basically 0 minutes. It was just to heat it up.
Really, yeah, because you want your greens is I think the word is verdant as possible, right? So I love doing, whether I'm making a smoothie or a date shake, I love making everything into popsicles. It's good for people that worry about portion control, but it's just fun. Things just taste better frozen to me. I don't know why. So I think this is going to make fill half of it. Again, I only did half a recipe just because I'm going to be making, a full amount of this tomorrow.
And this silicone popsicle holder, this is available where?
Yeah, if you go to my Amazon store, amazon.com/shop/chefaj, or just look on Amazon yourself. I just have my preferred products that I actually use there. But it is really fun, and I really do use this. I make all kinds of flavors, especially in summer. Because again, I think about the environment when I buy things, but also, when you make things yourself, I got to tell you, Lisa, it's a lot cheaper, and I think better tasting too, because you control the ingredients. So there we have it. Yeah, I knew it was going to make half. It makes 5. This makes 10. And I got the popsicle sticks. It comes with popsicle sticks, but only a certain amount. And I got to tell you, it was cheaper to buy 5,000 popsicle sticks on Amazon than it was to buy 50. So I'll be making popsicles probably the rest of my life. And if anybody needs any popsicle sticks, let me know, because this was crazy. You can see how thick it is. You can see how thick it is by how long it's taking to fill this. But it really does taste like eggnog. And actually, I have some very good friends that are YouTubers. Their names are the Scotts. And I'm having my own cooking special tomorrow, where I have 7 chefs that are going to be making Thanksgiving dinner. It's a cook-along, and they're going to be making their own eggnog, and they actually make theirs out of cauliflower.
Oh my God.
That. So now I'm going to put this little top on top, just like this. It's very, very easy to use. Kids would love this. And then I'm going to get my box of 5,000 popsicle sticks. And then what you do is you just press it in, and you don't go, you want to leave enough for your finger to hold it. And then you leave it in several hours or overnight, and it releases very easily because this is made of silicone. Don't worry, they will release. You just turn it over and you push it out, and it doesn't stick. And then I store it either in a glass jar or a Ziploc bag. And so now tomorrow we'll be able to enjoy. It's still hot where I live in the desert, so there's nothing wrong with having popsicle.
So I got a question about your Amazon store. So I'm going to put the link up. So it's amazon.com/shop,
the word shop, and then /Chef AJ. So these are going in the freezer, and I can just show you what they look like when they come out. I've got a couple in the bag. Delicious, already made. So, and they last. All right. So now let me just show you a little bit about this this beautiful kale and how I would serve it and eat it. It's so much easier doing these demos in your own kitchen because you can get stuff.
Right, I know.
So I'm going to just put this on this little heating thing. And so you can see that it cooked down to nothing. I'm just going to stir it up. And all the water was absorbed. It's still bright green, so we know it retained a lot of nutrients. And what I'm going to do is when I serve it for real, I'm going to offer some flavors of balsamic vinegar from California Balsamic. They have flavors like basil, and they have flavors that are just really yummy, just even the traditional. Now, it calls for fresh basil on the top. With fresh herbs, you don't want to cook because they'll just get wilted. I forgot to buy basil. So what I'm just going to use some dried, maybe a tablespoon or so. It'll be fine. Fresh is, I think, better, but it'll still taste delicious. And if you sprinkle a little nutritional yeast on this, it really does. Oh my God, it already smells like pizza, but it tastes like pizza. So wow. Just remember, even if you're going to indulge tomorrow, you gotta eat your greens. That is not negotiable. All right, so let's move on. Let's see, to the fourth recipe, which is, you know what, I'll save the relish for last. I'm going to make one more festive holiday beverage that I do like to make for my guests. I just need to quickly rinse the blender out. So talk amongst yourself or feel free to ask me a question.
So people wanted to know about the recipe. So we're going to
I can email them to you, Lisa, and then you can post
that would
them.
be great. And then we're going to post them on janeunchained.com. So we hope to have them posted by the end of the day.
I could probably get them to you within by 2 o'clock.
That would be incredible. So everybody can
no problem.
We had a couple questions. Tom Vincel wanted to know if you add vanilla when you're making your regular plant-based milks.
So I don't. And the reason is because, a lot of times I'm making the milks to use in soups. I make a lot of cream soups, like my cauliflower bisque, for example. So if I don't want a vanilla flavor in, I won't. But if I know I'm making it maybe just for my husband's oatmeal or smoothies, then I will add a little bit of vanilla powder or a vanilla bean, maybe even a little cinnamon, maybe even a date. So it depends. So great question. And I would really encourage you to try vanilla powder if you haven't, because it's just so much better than vanilla. It's really hard to go back to those extracts that have all the sugar and the alcohol. Again, people say, but it's so expensive. Honestly, that saying, you get what you pay for, is true, because when you get regular extract, you're paying for like alcohol. I don't want alcohol in my thing. And people say it burns off. Well, it doesn't burn off if you're not cooking it. So I can taste it. I can taste the extract. All right, so here's another festive beverage. This is called Holiday Spritzer. And like I said, we don't drink alcohol. And so sometimes you just want something that's a little prettier, more festive. And so this is a really easy recipe to make because it doesn't have very many ingredients. This is just a cup of apple juice, unfiltered. You can even get them spiced now this time of year, and a tablespoon of lime juice that I'm putting in the blender. And I'm adding a half a cup of fresh organic cranberries. And I'm going to blend it. Very, very easy. And this is so pretty. And again, you want to get a pretty glass. I got these glasses at the 99-cent store, so very inexpensive.
So I'm putting banners up so people can follow. I'm going to try to get them onto Facebook as well as I sit here behind the dashboard. But okay. Chef AJ's favorite products, and they really are incredible, such as the silicone popsicle container and other things, are on her Amazon store. That's so pretty.
So what I'm going to do is this beautiful pink liquid is going to be split into 2 pretty glasses equally. And then I'm going to top it off. This is what's going to make it a spritzer. So what you're going to top it off with is, if you have a favorite sparkling water or club soda of your choice, it can be flavored or not flavored. But I found this thing at Costco recently, and they also sold it at Sprouts and Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. And this is called Spindrift, and it's literally seltzer water and fruit. There's no sugar, there's no salt, nothing added. The whole can is like 8 calories, and I like to top it off with a little spritzer. Use my glass straws recycle. John Pierre would be proud of me. I do really use glass straws. And I need all these cranberries for my relish. Otherwise, I could put one on top. But this is just a really fun way to have a festive beverage, and it's pretty and to your health. And so I'm going to give one to my camera person and one to my other person here. And I'll be right back.
That looks incredible. So what I want everybody to know is Chef AJ has a daily show on YouTube. So you go to YouTube and put in Chef AJ, and it's called Chef AJ Live, and you blow away with incredible guests.
Yeah, I had a guest once.
Sometimes, go ahead.
I once had a guest that made a quiche. Her name was Lisa Carlin.
Yeah, you did.
She did a great job. Okay, so now I'm going to make cranberry relish. And, cranberry relish, yes, you can buy it in a can. It's going to have a ton of sugar, and it's not going to taste that good. Or you can make it in a food processor. And this is the other thing that I love about the Nutramilk is in addition to making nut butters and nut milks, it's a food processor, and it's a very good, powerful one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the base. And the first thing I'm going to do is take my bag of organic cranberries. And again, this thing is so great because I don't have to keep wiping down the sides.
That's the feature that I like the most. It has these score wipers, and I've got the code right now, the Black Friday special to receive $100 off. And as you said, it's free shipping in the United States. Begins tomorrow. Begins at 12 a.m. tomorrow. So tonight at midnight on November 26th, and it goes to the 29th. So you get $100 off on this incredible machine, which is a nut milk maker. It's a food processor. It makes nut butters.
And she says it can make smoothies. The CEO, when I interviewed her yesterday, said it makes smoothies. I have not tried to make a smoothie, but I have no reason not to believe her. I can't wait to start making my own veggie broth. It's going to be raw. I saw a video and I'm like, this is going to be a game changer. Instead of taking all the time to cook it in my Instant Pot, I'm just going to take my scraps and throw them in here. My next video will be that. So anyway, so I've got my cranberries in here. I'm just going to press the mix button and just start to process that. I don't have to go a full minute, but a minute is the default. And then I'm going to stop. And then I'm going to add my oranges. So I just, in the interest of time, it calls for 2 oranges. I already did one, but I'm going to show you how to do the other one in a second. Because what we want to do is...
You taught me this, and this is my cranberry relish for this weekend.
We want to keep the zest, which is the outer side. So I'm going to just show you how to do the zest right now. And I'll do it over this machine. This is a tool, again, another favorite tool called a zester. Imagine you're shaving. You just go over the orange and you get these nice long shreds. The thing is, you don't want to go over a spot you went over because then you're going to get the white part, which is bitter. It's called the pith. And if you're going to use the zest, make sure, please, it's organic. And lemons and limes you can zest. I've never zested a grapefruit. I don't know how that would taste, but there's a lot of goodness. And you can kind of see it's like little railroad tracks. You just don't want to go over. And
just lost the feed. Let's hope she's frozen. Chef AJ, you're frozen.
I'm frozen still?
There you go. There you go. We can hear you, but you were frozen. All right, here we go.
I'm sorry that I froze. That's unusual. Okay, so there we have that, just to show you how to do that. And then we're going to add dates. I don't know how many. How about this many? You can taste it. How about a nice handful? I don't know. It's really going to be up to you and your guests how many dates you're going to put in. But that's it, guys. 3 ingredients, no sugar, no cooking it for an hour, and press the mix button. This thing makes great date paste really quickly. Is there something beeping here? Oh, okay. I'm hearing something in my ear. Well, that's it. I mean, how easy was that? And keep it. This is also wonderful just on your morning oatmeal. 3 ingredients. It didn't even take 3 minutes to make. And I promise you will love this. And it's the healthiest one that I know of. And if you didn't want to use dates, there's a variation. You can use pears where you roast the pears. But that's it. 3 ingredient relish. And you can have a happy, healthy Thanksgiving with just simple whole foods. That's what I got.
That's wonderful. It's so great having you on the show again today.
Thank you.
You were one of the first people 11 years ago that helped me make that transition in what
Thank
to
you.
eat in terms of diet. And now look at what's happened.
I know, now you're a big superstar. I remember when you came to my class in Los Angeles with a friend of yours.
I did. It's partially your fault,
Well, thank you. And thank you and Jane and the whole team.
I want to let everybody know about your book.
Okay, this is the new one. I did 81 recipes, and then we have 35 contributors, and it's a good book. Glenn Mercer wrote it. He's got a funny writing style, and it's my third. Well, if you count the ebook, it's my fourth book, so maybe it's my third book, and it's called Own Your Health, because I think that we all can own our health by the choices that we make. What we eat matters, how we feel, how we look, what diseases we get, what diseases we can reverse. So eat plants, preferably in their whole food form, and preferably a lot of them, and don't forget to eat your greens.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. I know you have another show to run and do. It was a pleasure having you. They'll send me the recipes and I'll let the audience know. I will post them. They'll go into a Jane Unchained article this afternoon. And if anybody has any questions, put them in the comments. We can address them after the show. And have a wonderful, safe holiday, everybody.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.